Herein. This morning we're going to take up the subject of some words that were uttered by one of the greatest saints of our times, which is Sri Anandamayi Ma, who was a Bengali saint who lived during the 20th century, left her body in 1982, but for many who knew her and many who heard of her, continued as a living presence even unto this day. For her words were, which were recorded in Matrivani, or Words of Anandamayi Ma, this. She said, "By mere effort, attachment cannot be given up. Only by strengthening the longing to find him. All other yearning will fade away. Bliss and peace are the aim of everyone, for these are in fact present deep within everyone and cannot be relinquished. Only that which is in any case has to fall away is that which is to be given up." It's the important truth that she uttered by saying, by mere effort, attachment cannot be given up. So outside of effort, what is there that we can do? Of course, what comes to mind first is satsang. But that in itself is effort, for we put forth effort to come before those who can shed light on the path towards spiritual realization. But inwardly, she is talking about a movement of the heart, which is altogether different and separate from effort of the mind. And she's saying this effort of the heart must be engaged in longing for God. Once, I remember being in front of her in the early 1970s, she was asked, how does one increase longing for God? And she, with a movement of the hand, she made her explanation. She said, by our effort, we ascend before God, and God's grace comes down to us in the form of longing. So God gives us longing. Our effort cannot do it, but somehow our effort does, in a sense, touch the heart of God, touch the angels, the saints, to even pray for us and aid us in so many ways, and therefore our longing is established by an act, by the gift of grace. So now the question should be, what do we do to, in a sense, earn, deserve, or be receptive to the gift of grace? Because as we've spoken earlier, the saints say that grace is always blowing in the wind. Our job is to become receptive to it. Our job is to unfurl our sail and somehow catch it. So what needs to be done is we need to become sensitive to the grace of God. This is why there are so many aids to the actual practice of meditation and the effort of putting forth prayer and devotional services, worship, all the external aids by which we model our life after those who went before, truly an imitation of Christ consciousness or an imitation of those great ones who have gone before us. So the effort is to maintain a constant vigilance on our habits, to both increase our good habits and decrease that which causes dullness, or in the Sanskrit word tamasic nature. And this is why Sri Anandamayi Ma spoke so much about what is considered the simple things of life as being very much of significant importance. Vegetarian diet, association, cleanliness of the body, a regularity of all aspects of life. And therefore the yoga that she put forth was an integrated yoga, a yoga by which every aspect of our life was in harmony with that which would expand our awareness and expand our ability to be receptive to the divine touch. This is significant because in this day and age we find a movement, though small as it is very loud. Usually the smaller aspects of society are the ones that screech the most, and in the spiritual realm this is all the more true. That they say there is nothing left to do, we just be one and experience that divinity within us. But as Mother said, this is in fact present, but deep within everyone, and it cannot be relinquished, and therefore it is there, but deep within. She once said to someone who came before, "Mother, I'm doing no more sadhana because I know that in your presence and by your grace, I have come to understand that I am that. I am the fullness of divinity itself." And Mother said, yes, it's true. You have that spark. You have that deep within you. But your job is to get it to manifest in your life, and not only in your life, but in every aspect of your life. So we must understand what the saints are telling us is not to be only adept at prayer, devotion, meditation, but to be consciously aware of every activity of our life and make it in harmony with forward movement, or we might say upward movement. So the little things should not be left undone. The Buddha once said that the deep problems of the consciousness are manifested right in the forefront of the mind. Therefore, we can see if we have a deep, deep pride within us, we'll be happy when we receive praise from someone, which seemingly, it's just a thought, I feel elated because someone said something nice. Or if you have the idea that you are accomplished in your meditation and therefore laxity is not a real problem because you're so developed, that little bit of pride seemingly on the surface of the mind is reflective of what's going on deep within. And so the Buddha directs us to pay attention to in a sense, the ripples of the mind, that which is going on just the surface of our consciousness, and deal with that. Get that in order. Put down that which is dark and seemingly accepting negligence. The word pramada here is very important. A willing disregard for the consequences of actions. If we would do this one thing, then that which is deep within us would be caused to manifest. So in the Srimad Bhagavatam, which Mother Anandamayi quoted often, Sri Krishna tells Uddhava in his final teaching, if you would only shake off sloth and remember me, that is enough. The word sloth in English comes from the Sanskrit word pramada, which means a willing indifference to the consequences of actions. The actions that are the daily actions, the things we do, when we decide to associate with someone we know would be harmful, or we eat something that we know would be detrimental to our not only physical health but our spiritual stability. These things are the things that we should attend to, and then God will attend to the rest. So let us heed the words of Sri Krishna where he says, shake off this sloth, shake off this negligence and this disregard for the consequences of your actions, and remember me. So it's a twofold sword. Remembering God is hard enough because the world invades us, and past, present, and future activity of the mind cloud our remembrance of God. That's why many take up the practice of japa, or remembering God's name. But in any form that we choose to remember God, it will be good if we do it continually and we shake off the sluggishness of a disinterested mind and heart. So let us go forth and remember God.